you spoke about distinction between being and doing. And yeah, I'd like to hear more. It feels like there's the doing something, there's thoughts that are being done, or there's a body that's being done.
Not in reality. Thoughts are being appearing as thoughts, and actions are actions as being appearing as actions. It's it's a total shift from one dimension to the other. When you remain in the dimension of doing, everything is reasonable because you see cause and effect. And that's karma. Yeah? So when you believe to be the doer of an action, you believe to be the cause of an effect. And because of this, you're going to suffer the consequence of that effect. But when there is a shift in dimension, and instead of believing to exist in time, you see you exist in the eternal, in that shift, there is no cause and effect. There is no karma. Any being that has been already burning entirely the sense of separation, they can act in the world as if they were having intentions, as if they were having a plan. But they might even say, this is my plan, yeah? But they have no karma. They suffer actually no karma. So they don't suffer the consequence of their action because there is no identification with the action as the action is happening. They are working through the dimension of being, and they remain solidly anchored to it, consciously. Now, what is the difference between these beings and our put souls? That sometimes, or all the time, we get identified with doing, and so we don't operate in the dimension of being, but we operate in the dimension of doing. Now, is then true that when the dimension of doing, this relative dimension, is happening, it's real? That's where it becomes so interesting. It's not real even when you operate from a dimension of doing, because it's actually being that is imagining to be doing. It's being that is appearing as karma. It's being that is appearing as suffering. So, in other words, to use a metaphor, if a tiger is running after a man in an oasis, and then you realize that there is no tiger, and there is no man, and there is no oasis because it's a mirage. Nobody got hurt. But you only see this when you see it's a mirage. When you are watching the mirage and you think it's reality, you experience the suffering of it. And that's the condition of human beings. So it's not that, let's say, God is making us suffer for nothing, because in reality it's all one consciousness. It's because God is experiencing the illusion of suffering through us. So this dimension of being is always the only one reality, but is not always approachable because it's seen through the filters of the idea to be a person. And that's all is asked, for that filter to fall.